Questions are quiet things, but they carry weight. The kind of weight that can change a room without anyone raising their voice. Every form of power has a cost, and questions are no different. Use them to trap people and you become manipulative. Use them to help people see, and you become something closer to a philosopher. Socrates understood this better than anyone. He was known as a man who never lost a debate, not because he always had the best answers, but because he never entered a debate to win. While others argued, defended, and protected their opinions like fragile possessions, he did something different. He asked questions. Calm ones. Simple ones. Questions that didn't attack, but slowly peeled away certainty. He didn't shout. He didn't try to impress. He often said very little. He knew that silence, paired with the right question, was stronger than any speech. Most people don't have the patience to stay quiet or the discipline to let someone else think themselves into a corner. Socrates did. He understood something most people still miss. When you argue, you expose yourself. You build a tower of words, and every tower depends on its foundation. If one brick is weak, the whole thing can fall. But when you ask questions, you don't build towers. You dig. You dig beneath beliefs, beneath confidence, beneath emotion, until you reach the ground they're standing on. And if that ground is soft, everything above it collapses on its own. A statement can be wrong. A sincere question cannot be. Arguments make people defensive. Questions make people think. Instead of attacking the ego, Socrates invited people to explain themselves. He let them draw the map of their own beliefs. And when they reached the edge of that map, many realized there was nothing solid beneath it. Just sand. That moment wasn't about humiliation. It was about freedom from ideas they had never chosen, only inherited. Once, a confident young man challenged Socrates and said his philosophy was useless because only reality mattered. Socrates smiled and asked him how he knew that was true. The man answered, "Because everyone says so." Socrates leaned closer and asked, "Everyone, or you?" No one remembers what the young man said next. They only remember that he walked away quietly, realizing for the first time that he had never truly thought for himself. That same question still works today. When someone says something can't be done, instead of arguing, you can ask what experience they're basing that on. When someone says you're going to fail, you can ask what makes them so certain. Then you stop talking. Silence does the rest. It forces people to listen to their own thoughts, and that's often where the cracks appear. Some beliefs fall apart even faster when you ask a different kind of question. What would have to be true for this belief to be false? That single sentence turns certainty upside down. It forces the mind to look for what it has been avoiding. Sometimes the effect is so strong that even the most confident people freeze, as if they've suddenly noticed the ground moving beneath them. Most arguments hide something deeper. Every belief rests on assumptions that are rarely examined. When someone says everyone should go to college because college leads to good jobs, it sounds reasonable on the surface. But beneath it lie assumptions that everyone wants the same life, that money is the main measure of success, that college always leads to stability. When those hidden ideas are brought into the light, the belief begins to shake. This kind of questioning doesn't destroy by force. It destroys by awareness. Many of the things people suffer from exist only because they've never questioned them. They assume they need approval. They assume words can hurt them. They assume they're not good enough. But compared to who? According to what standard? The moment those assumptions are exposed, they lose their grip. A soldier once asked a great emperor how to avoid being offended. The answer was simple: understand that words can't harm you unless you decide they can. That answer itself was a question turned inward, cutting through an illusion the soldier didn't even know he carried. There is one question, though, that reveals more than any other. It's the question that separates those who think from those who believe. What evidence would change your mind? A person guided by reason can answer it. A person guided by ego cannot. When someone says nothing could ever change their view, they've already told you everything you need to know. The conversation is no longer about truth. It's about identity. Ask someone why they believe something strongly, and then ask what would make them reconsider. If the answer is nothing, there's no need to continue. Logic has already left the room. Pride has taken its place. Socrates never used questions to dominate people. He used them to strip away illusion, starting with his own. That's the real power of questions. Not to control others, but to master yourself. A learner changes when the truth shows up. A believer doesn't. A believer protects their ego even when the truth is standing right in front of them. Epictetus once said that no one can learn something new if they think they already know everything. That's what this question really tests. Not intelligence, but humility. If you can't name the kind of evidence that would prove you wrong, then you're no longer thinking. You're trapped inside your own certainty. In everyday life, this shows up clearly. When someone pushes their beliefs on you, you don't have to fight them. You can simply ask, if new facts came out, would you be open to changing your view? If they say no, you've just seen the limit of their mind. If they say yes, you've opened the door to wisdom. There is another question that pushes even deeper. It asks people to step outside themselves, which is one of the hardest things a human can do. Weak minds want to win. Sharp minds want to understand. Wise minds want to understand even those who disagree with them. Ask someone what a person on the other side of the argument would say. If they can't explain that view fairly, they don't actually understand the issue. They've been fighting a caricature, not a real idea. When someone says capitalism is perfect and you ask what critics would say, and they respond with insults instead of reasons, they reveal they've never truly listened. Most debates today are loud, not thoughtful. This question turns shouting into dialogue. A wise person once said the highest form of understanding is being able to explain your opponent's argument better than they can themselves. Imagine a discussion at a military academy. A young officer says the system is fair because anyone who breaks the rules gets punished. An older instructor calmly asks, what if the rule itself was written by an unjust person? The room goes quiet. That's the power of changing perspective. One question can open a door someone didn't even know was there. You can use this anywhere. In politics, instead of attacking, ask if they would believe the same thing if they had grown up somewhere else. In personal conflict, ask how they would feel if they were in your place. That single question often melts tension because it reaches beyond logic and touches empathy. Then there is the question that drags ideas down from theory into real life. Ask what would happen if everyone thought the same way. Many beliefs sound beautiful until they're applied universally. Someone says people should do whatever they want as long as they don't hurt anyone. Ask who decides what hurt means. Emotional pain. Long-term damage. Suddenly the idea starts to crack. A belief that only works when it's convenient isn't truth. It's an excuse. If someone says they only lied a little, ask what would happen if everyone lied a little. Would trust survive? If they say everyone does it, ask who would ever stop. This question forces people to face the consequences they'd rather ignore. There are also quiet techniques that make questions even stronger. Ask, then stop talking. Silence makes people uncomfortable, and in that discomfort they often reveal more than they intended. If their answer is unclear, ask them to explain it again. And again. Eventually, they realize they don't fully understand their own position. Ask for real examples. Big ideas often fall apart when they have to meet reality. And if their answers contradict each other, gently point it out. Logic always catches up in the end. But this tool can be used against you too. When someone starts questioning you, don't panic. They aren't attacking you. They're testing the truth. Stay calm. You can even turn the balance back by asking what they think. Questions shouldn't be shields. They should be bridges. And remember, not every moment needs logic. When someone is hurting or angry, reason won't heal them. When speaking to authority, curiosity can be mistaken for challenge. When action is urgent, overthinking can slow everything down. And in close relationships, too many questions can feel like judgment instead of care. Wisdom is knowing when to ask and when to simply listen. In modern life, this way of thinking still works. Ask what their life will look like if nothing changes. Clarity convinces better than force ever could. With children, instead of yelling, ask what they think will happen if they repeat their behavior. That pause is where growth begins. And in love, when emotions rise, don't ask to win. Ask to understand. Ask what the other person needs to feel heard. Sometimes empathy, disguised as a question, saves what logic cannot. Socrates was killed not because he lied, but because he asked too many true questions. That's the final lesson. Questions are power, and power always has responsibility. Use questions to embarrass others and you become a manipulator. Use them to wake people up and you become a philosopher. Ask with humility. Ask with curiosity. Ask to build, not to dominate. Guard against arrogance, against using questions as weapons, against tearing everything down without building anything back up, and against believing you alone hold the truth. One day, when you face someone loud, stubborn, or angry, remember this. You don't need to shout to be right. Sometimes all it takes is a soft question that makes them stop and think. True power isn't about making people listen to you. It's about helping them hear themselves. Socrates once pointed humanity toward a single question. Do you really understand yourself? Even today, that question remains unanswered for most. The 5 Socratic questions aren't tools for winning arguments. They are practices for wisdom. They train a calm, disciplined mind that seeks mastery, not victory. Don't react, observe. Don't force, guide. Don't fight, discover. Use these questions with others, but start with yourself. Because the person who knows how to ask the right questions is no longer afraid of any answer. If you stayed with this message until now, you already belong to a rare group. Those who seek truth, not approval. If this resonated with you, write 3 words. I choose awareness. Let that be your promise to live thoughtfully.